Hey everybody, Silly here. Let's make some money on customs. Right now on screen, what you see is an example of a loot run I just did. And spoiler alert, we get insanely lucky just doing the demonstration of the loot run that you're about to see in some of these stashes. So you definitely want to stick around to see what I get from them. But let's get into the loot run. Okay, so we're gonna start our customs loot run from here. So we are next to the ZB011 spawn there, or sorry, the extract, and there's the tunnel in which you would go down. And right there is the smokestack building, and we're basically just on the train tracks in the far, I guess this would be the eastern corner of the map. And the first thing we're gonna check on this run is this stash right here in the corner. So here we are. We're gonna check this first stash here. I'm not gonna loot every single stash along the way, just because a lot of you, I'm sure, are familiar with the stash loot at this point. But I will loot some of them, but I'll definitely show you every location I visit all along this loot run. So after hitting that stash up, we're basically gonna want to focus on two buildings within this big compound on customs. I go to this double stacked glass building next to the extract here. And I look for the on top of here for bullets, and obviously in this grenade case. I'll check that out. I do like myself some grenades. Fuses are also really good too for crafting. So I'll go visit that grenade case down there, and then I'll come across on the other side of this room here, and I'll loot this technical supply crate. I love technical supply crates. They have some of my favorite items in this game. Look, we got some fuel there, which is 100k right off the bat. Got some USPs. We'll take it just for now, but... And then the best part of this building is actually on the second floor, which we'll go ahead and head up here. And we have our weapon box right here that we're going to open up and see what we can find. Ah, Glocks. Right on here where this Raven statue is can be more streamer items, but also some high valuable loot spawns, so you can get your lines of bitcoins up there. We have two computers here. I'm not going to search everything. I'm sure you guys are familiar. Then we have two toolboxes there, and then we have a toolbox there, as well as a few like various hideout items that can be scattered on the rafters up here. So we'll loot all that, and then the next place I'm going to go, the second building I visit in the compound before I head out, is the mechanic one right here. I'm going to go right in all the way down on this side up these stairs. And run all the way down. Here we are. And all the way up these stairs, and then we have a room on our left. There's nothing really in this one. You can get some few meds if you are looking for them, but the valuable loot you're going to be looking for is right here on the second door on your left, all the way down, right here where this big mannequin looking thing is. Right here on the wrist, you can actually get a roller wristwatch. And then right here behind him, behind this bale here in this corner, is more valuable loot spawns. So things like gold chains, bitcoins, even another roller, so you can possibly get two rollers in this room, which is pretty good. Now we're gonna leave that one all the way down first door on our right. And this room is full of a bunch of juicy weapon attachments. Things like this magazine here, right, is actually worth a lot on the flea market because the VSS is an extremely good gun. It's suppressed. Well, it's not as good as it used to be, but if you single fire it, it's still pretty decent. And especially because it comes suppressed and almost fully modded, these mags actually go for a lot because it's actually hard to get the mags themselves to use the gun. So we're going to be looking on all shelves here. You can see a bunch of weapon attachments all littered around on all of these surfaces. We have a weapon box here that we can open. We'll just give this one an open. The things I like to look for in the weapon boxes could be scopes. Ooh, sword and headphones. Those are pretty cool. I would take those because I actually like them better. Suppressors, of course, are big ones. So that was an amazing weapon box. And other things you like to look at, some certain adapters for suppressors are worth a lot. So it's always good if you haven't seen or sold a weapon attachment before to just bring it out with you and then check the value on the flea market before you just toss it. Then we have some more shelves full of more hardware items there. as well as on this shelf here. Elite pliers are very good. They sell for about 18k just to therapists, regardless of flea market price. So an 18k one slaughter is always amazing. Another plier you can look for is the red pliers. They go for 17k just to the trader. So again, 17k for one slaughter is pretty dang good. Right here on this couch, you have another valuable spawn. So you have bitcoins and things like that, your gold chains, your rollers, etc. And then you can have some other ration spawns up here, and then you have a milk conditioner there. So again, when it comes to the ration spawns, you want to be looking for those sugars to really get you that value. After we're done looting that side of mechanic, we're gonna run all the way to the other side here. Run up these stairs. Man, I really like the lightning and thunder sounds, by the way, guys. I'm not gonna lie, I think the lightning and thunder sounds sound pretty cool. And I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on that? I'll pose you that question because I think it's pretty neat. But here we have the duffel. I guess I'll open at least one of every container that we see if it's a different container. Duffels can have pretty much anything, so you want to be looking for, you can get bitcoins, you can get graphics cards, you get a bunch of good streamer items in duffel bags. Pretty much just seems like a rolling RNG table, but I love duffel bags. So one of my favorite things to loot just because of the variety. All here under this desk, we have a bunch of various technical items. So you can go look for GPUs, you can find gas analyzers there if you're looking for it. You have two computers here you can search, so I'll search one of these because I haven't searched a computer on this raid. Of course, that one has nothing in it. Let's search one more, see what we get. Ooh, power supply, probably, yeah. Power supplies go for about 60-70k in the flea market right now because they're heavily used in the hideout. So keep an eye out for those. I used to think there was items in here. I think some items used to kind of spawn under the screen, but I haven't seen anything there in a while, so I'll just leave that empty for now. But let's go to this back room here. We'll have a toolbox there, a bunch of hardware items on these shelves here, another toolbox right there. Again, keep an eye on these shelves here. You got a screwdriver right there. And then you have a med bag back here. So med bag's pretty good. Also more hardware items on these shelves. After we check out this room, we have one jacket in this bathroom. I don't think I've seen anything else in here, but jacket's always good because you want those keys. So let's open up one jacket here. I barely opened up half the containers on this run, by the way, and look at the amount of value we have. It's actually insane. If you were just running in, pistol running this, at the start of the wipe, you have a great helmet, you have contacts already, suppressors, fuel. Amazing so far, amazing. So next room here, the last room on this side, we have a duffel bag there. Things can spawn on the bed here like rations and hardware items. You have a jacket here, more weapon attachments right there on the on this little surface, this table. I guess I'll grab this because I just want to talk about pistol grips a little bit. When it comes to pistol grips, now this is an SKS one, so it's specific and not too valuable. But when it comes to pistol grips, a good rule of thumb I have is if you click on it, if you double click to inspect the pistol grip, say you don't know all the pistol grips, what's good, what's not. If it has over 10 ergonomics, 10 or more, it's genuinely or generally pretty valuable because as you get up there after 10, it's a big bonus of ergo you're providing to your weapon. So I'm not sure how much this flees for, but that hits that 10 ergonomic mark. And then we have some more shelves here with some more weapon attachments. Don't try to grab this red pliers. I've tried to grab it a million times because I'm dumb. It's just a visual thing. And then we can check out the rest of these beds. And then we have the jacket there if I didn't mention that already. So after we're done looting this, we are done with the two buildings I like to loot. There's certainly more loot in the compound, but in terms of efficiency, I just like to hit those two because I know they're packed full of it, and then just move on to the other side of, or to the other half of this loot run. So after I'm done that, I like to run all the way down to the end of this street, back towards the extract we were just at the start. And that's because I want to loot a stash that's in this corner. Something that's good about this run, especially early wipe, is it can go pretty incognito. A lot of these stash locations aren't too heavily traversed. There's where we just started, by the way, for reference. This stash here is right in this corner, so we'll loot one more stash here as we go by them, just to give you more an example of what we can find in these loot pools. But for the sake of the entire video, oh, 104, perfect. I prefer the 103 because it has slightly less vertical recoil, but 104 and 103s are very nice AK, and I love using them. But for the sake of video, I won't loot every single container, just because I do just want to show you where all the loot is, and then you guys can experiment with yourself. But I like this one right out the gate, right at the fresh start of a wipe. It's a nice loot run to do without having to run into a lot of the very high risk areas that come under fire at the start of the wipe, like tech light on interchange and stuff like that. Car battery is really good. I definitely would be taking that for the therapist quest. Nuts are extremely expensive. But here's this next stash. So we just left that hole. First bush on the left. Another stash there. Perfect. But as you can see, after that stash, we're going to run down on this end of the map. And unless you know where all these stashes are, or you're doing something specific, you won't find a lot of people down here. Which is why I really like the safeness to this loot run, I guess. But at the same time, no loot run is going to be perfectly safe. Maybe you join a raid and then every single player decides to do this loot run. So, of course, in that case, you'll be running into a bunch of players. But relatively, you know, we're certainly not going to dorms, which is huge. And we're not going to be going to, like, Skeletal, where Rashala can spawn, where that PvP is. We're going to be going for these safe loot areas. So we have another stash right here at the end of the street. Wow, I wish this was a live raid because I need these module 3 armors for my quest, but this is the sewing kit's very good. Armor's good if you need it. So we have one more stash here at the end of the road. We just walk down. Now this next stash can be a little tricky to find, but here's what I do to look for it. We are gonna run right up along the right side, kind of following this path. Then we'll see these big kind of rock clumps up here. Don't worry, because we'll be swinging to the left. And then as soon as you see this like little tree area, you get to this little tree by the rocks, you just take a quick left. You go straight left from it, almost directly, and then we'll see the stash right there. So I overshot it a little bit, but if you look straight left of that little tree by the rocks, here's the stash. So you can go ahead and give that one a loot as well. And then we'll be moving on to the next stash. Again, this area has, you know, a medium to light risk of PvP. You certainly can see some people here. So we're going to hit this stash along this blue fence, directly up from the last one. This is the radar tower, radio tower area. This stash here is right in this bush next to the blue fence, next to this massive trailer. So we're going to give this one a quick loot. As I said, I wasn't going to loot all of them, but I also really love looting stuff. Green battery, that is extremely expensive, and again, even more the reason why I wish this was a live raid. But does anyone else run into these issues where like textures just really kind of mess up like that? I'm not sure why they do that, but a green battery is an amazing find, especially from a stash. So that is huge. After we loot that green battery or that stash, it might not be a green battery every time, we're gonna run towards the new gas station. So I'm gonna run right down this hill, and we're gonna check something not a lot of people check, but I highly urge you to. It's always a good spot to check if you know about it. So running right down towards the new gas, there's the gas station there. We're gonna touch this old car real quick. And that's because this old car right here has a chance to spawn graphics cards and other high value tech items. So we're gonna open this trunk. Boom. No graphics card, but that's where you would find it, right back there. After we're done that, I don't like to stick around in the gas station too much. There are a couple good keys that spawn there, so if you're looking for a more in-depth guide, definitely check out that customs full map guide I have. But next thing we're going to do is along this cliffside, we're going to jump through this little gap here. Sometimes it can be hard to get it. Even I messed this up a couple times. There you go. And then we're going to follow along the wall up to through that gap, and we're going to hit another stash. On the back here. Trying to minimize our time in these higher PvP areas, Rashala could spawn the custom scab boss at this gas station. So we're gonna hit this stash, and then we're gonna try to minimize our time around it, because other players might be hunting him or what have you for whatever reason. GP coin and a filter. Again, this is turning out to be an amazing raid. We'll drop some stuff there that we don't need. Well, at least in this raid, we definitely need magazines and ammo, but you know what I mean. After loading that stash, we're gonna run straight towards the train tracks. Let's go in here and take a left in this gate. And we're gonna look for this pole, because right at the base of that pole will be another stash that we'll give up. So here's that stash right there. Perfect. I think at this point, I'm just gonna hit all these stashes. Might as well, see what we get. I love looting stashes. I can't resist teapot. I mean, these stashes, metal parts, again, extremely valuable when it comes to the hideout. Squash also has some value, because I believe it's used for the barter trade. For the holodilnic food bag, if I'm not mistaken. But I do believe there is that use for it. So after that stash, right here in the end of the stone fence here, we're gonna run through this gap, and we're gonna run towards the bus station. And that's because the bus station is gonna have 2 more stashes for us. So there's dorms there. We're gonna stick left. We don't want to get too cut up in dorms. Right by the stick pile, by the corner of the gas station there, you can find another stash. So let's go ahead and see what's in here. I'm gonna check all these stashes now, because I've been having a roll during during this this loot run here on these stashes. Amazing value so far. It's incredible. After we loot that stash, you're gonna run along this side towards the road and the pipes. And in this tires here, in the pile of tires, I should say, there's another stash right under the pipe. So we'll give this one a quick loot as well. See what we get. Use that cats, okay. Grenades, love those. And meds. Meds good for crafting in the med station, of course. I use a lot of meds. I constantly been making, personally, IFAKs. And I try to make a lot of these syringes like mules and propitols as they get later into wipe. So after those 2 stashes, come down right past the bus stop, and we're gonna look in this blue container right here, just where the pipe kind of starts hanging right, and right in here in the back of this container here is another stash. So we're gonna hit this stash up as well. Okay, finally a stash where we don't get as lucky, and then we get some rubles there. But after this stash, I basically make the dash for the extract. I don't really head back into construction. Honestly, there's so much PvP there, unless you're looking for it or you have quests or what have you. There isn't too much reason to go there, just if you're just looking for loot, you know, a nice chill looting experience. Construction is not the place to go. I typically run by this, take as much cover through the forest and whatnot, and then I run down to the bridge, which I'll just get to in a minute. I'll get there. I'll even take off my bag. Oh, that's not my bag button. Take off my bag. Double J is my hotkey. Press J twice to drop the bag, so I don't accidentally drop it. But now I'm not overweight. It's just for the sake of this the run, just to show you the end here. And as you run down to the end of the road, I probably wouldn't run straight down this road like this, because as you can see, we are pretty in the open. But just down there, off that way, you have the UN roadblock, another entrances into construction, and then you have the bridge here, which will take you to the other side of the map. And then at this point, I'll just be extracting from here. Well, everyone, that is it for me. I hope this video helped you find a crap ton of loot. And remember, torpedo sunbathe at 9 p.m.